So we're going to go through cosmetic regulations for the UK. What I've done is do it as slides so that you can screen grab if you want to save the information. And if you have any questions, then drop a comment below and I'll answer them when I can. So this is what we're going to be talking about in this video. Hopefully by the end of it everything will be clear. So the first thing you'll need to do is register with HMRC. So make sure you've chosen your business name and you're happy with it. You can choose to be a sole trader or a limited company. A sole trader is simpler whilst you grow, especially if you're an individual. What a sole trader means is that you are responsible for your business and your personal income together. So you will take all the profits for your business after tax, but you'll also be responsible for any business debts. But accounting is a lot simpler because it usually just involves a self-assessment at the end of the tax year. A limited company limits the owner's liability. The business is responsible for any business debts, not the owner. Accounts are more complicated though, so hiring an accountant would be advised. So next you need to notify your local trading standards. What trading standards do is govern cosmetic makers in each locale. So you should contact them when you first start up, inform them that your intention to manufacture cosmetic products. Ask them any questions. They are there to help. They're not just there to scare you, and they do have a wealth of information. They may or may not pay your premises a visit or ask you additional questions. It very much depends on where you live and how they operate. Okay, next you'll need to write a GMP statement. GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practice. You should have procedures in place in your place of work for things like good hygiene when you're making products, storage of ingredients, how you clean both before and after manufacturing your products, and how your products are made. Trading standards do sometimes check on this if they pay you a visit, so make sure you have written everything down. Though it's not a legal requirement, I'd advise paying for and downloading your own copy of the ISO 22716-2007, link below. Check this is up to date before you do so, but this will tell you exactly what you need to include in your GMP statement. You'll want to purchase some trade approved scales. By trade approved, I mean any scales that are required for any product sold by weight. This ensures that you not only provide the customer with the exact weight of the product as advertised, but that your ingredients are added in accurate measurements, which is obviously quite important when you're making a formula with ingredients that can only be used in certain percentages safely. Trade approved scales for cosmetics should measure between 3 and 5 kilograms at the highest level, depending on your largest batch, down to 0.01 grams to accurately account for lightweight measures such as powders. For example, mica powder colour is very, very lightweight, and sometimes it won't register on normal scales, so you need those micro measurements. Trade approved scales should be calibrated fairly regularly. The supplier should do it for you on purchase and provide a certificate. They will recommend when it should next be done, and trading standards will even sometimes do this for you if they visit your premises. Practice is the next thing. May seem obvious, but practice and test your formulas over time before submitting for your safety report. Practice allows you time to understand your formula, and it also allows you to be consistent with your finished product, because if you're making it many times over and over again, your customers will expect it to be the same each time, or at least within a margin of error. As a side note, it's worth noting here in the UK, your products can't be made to look like food. They can resemble them. For instance, if you want a cupcake shaped soap, that's fine, but don't make a cupcake 3D specifically to look like a cupcake. That's not allowed, purely because a child could mistake it for food and eat it, which obviously wouldn't be very good. So, stability and challenge testing. Stability testing is done to test the shelf life and stability of your product in its final packaging. Challenge testing tests the efficacy of your preservatives. Challenge testing is only usually required where a product is aqueous. This means it contains water. Anhydrous products, those are oil-based products, don't usually contain a preservative because they won't come in contact with water, and therefore bacteria doesn't grow in that kind of environment. Both tests can be done at a lab. Obviously this costs money, or you can do them at home, but you need to make sure that you perform them effectively if doing them yourself. This does involve some equipment, which again costs money, and obviously you need to account for that. Plus it will include temperature changes, so you need to be able to hold products at a certain temperature for a length of time, which you might not be able to do at home by yourself. The results of these tests should be recorded in your PIF and also submitted to the lab when you apply for your CPSR. RP. Now, RP stands for Responsible Person. A responsible person must be allocated for each company manufacturing cosmetic products. The RP name can be the company name, but you need to allocate an actual person within that company to take responsibility. This is usually the owner. To sell cosmetic products in the UK, you must have an RP living in the UK. To sell cosmetic products in the EU, you must have an RP living in an EU country. You can pay some labs yearly to do this for you. What the RP does is basically act as a point of contact in case of any issues with your product. If hopefully this wouldn't happen, but if you had to go to court for anything or anyone was suing you, you would need to take responsibility for that and go to court as the responsible person. The CPSR is the most important part of cosmetic regulations. It stands for Cosmetic Product Safety Report. It's a safety assessment of your product formula performed by a qualified individual or lab. They don't need your actual product, just the formulation. You must have a CPSR in your possession before you gift or sell your cosmetic products, even if that's to friends or family. The only exception to this is if you are purchasing white label products. This is where another company will sell you their products with your branding, but they will be named the RP on the label, and therefore they will be responsible for the CPSR. You can purchase a CPSR from us at reviga.co.uk, or you can get them from independent labs. All it does is test from your ingredient formulation percentages whether your cosmetic product is safe and fit for use. Once you have your CPSR, you'll need to compile a PIF. PIF stands for Product Information File. You'll need one of these for every single product that you create, and you must keep a copy at the address of manufacturer, though you can keep one on a computer or one printed out, as long as one is at your place of manufacture. It should include, as a minimum, your label designs and product images, your CPSR, your GMP statement, proof of claim defect statement, no animal testing declaration, manufacturing flowchart, this is how you make your product, product and packaging specification, all MSDS, COA, IFRA and allergen documentation. This is all the documentation you can download when you purchase your ingredients. It gives you all the technical data about your ingredients, any allergens present, and also the levels at which you can use fragrance oils. You then need your stability testing report, and if you've done any micro challenge testing, if it's an aqueous product, you'll need to include that there as well. Others I would include would be my batch records and a complaints form that you can fill in if you end up getting any complaints. And also, not mentioned here, but it should be a given, get insurance and include that in your PIF as well. The next is product labelling. You need the name of the product, the type of product if it's not obvious from the name, so shampoo, conditioner, whatever, just so someone knows exactly what the product is. How to use it, again, should be obvious, but is a legal requirement. Ingredients in percentage order, you should use the INCI name. However, you can put the common name in brackets if you wish. Allergens should be clearly labelled. I like to put a star in front of them. You can also make them bold if you want. Responsible person details, the weight of the product. This should be in grams or millilitres, but also if you put an E in front, it indicates average, which allows for a small margin of error in accordance with the weights and measures regulations. You'll see this on many of the products on your shelves in the bathroom, I'm sure. Then you need a PAO, the period after opening or an expiry date, and then your batch number. Additional information can be something like not suitable for children under 3 years old, if irritation occurs, discontinue use, etc. Anything that you feel relevant that should go on the label. And then any additional licensed logos like the PETA approved cruelty-free logo, a recyclable logo, etc., the leaping bunny. But remember, you do need a license for these logos, so you do need to contact the companies to pay for that. So batch records are quite important and need to be done for two different things. So you need to keep a record of all your ingredient batch numbers and supplier info. So every time you buy ingredients from a supplier, hopefully us, you will put in maybe an Excel spreadsheet, put the supplier, the date you purchased it, and the batch number. Just so you know for reference if there's any recall of that product or any issue with that product, then you can find the exact one that they're referring to. You must also assign your own batch number to each batch of products that you make. This is so that if a customer has an issue with the product, and you can identify the batch really easily. You can create a basic spreadsheet for this, like I said, in Excel. I like to keep it in the PIF with the rest of the product information, and just make sure you keep it up to date. Every time you make a batch of new product, you need a new batch number, and this should also be reflected on your product labels. Once you've compiled your PIF and made your product and done your labels, you need to report to the SCPN. This stands for the Submit Cosmetic Product Notification. It's the UK Cosmetics Notification Portal. Basically, since leaving the EU, the UK now has its own cosmetic portal. The EU one was the CPNP, the Cosmetic Product Notification Portal. You only need to submit to that now if you are selling in the EU and have an EU-based responsible person. Otherwise, all you'll be dealing with is the UK portal. All cosmetic products need reporting. You only need to do it once per formula, not per batch. If your formula or branding changes, you will need to re-upload. This is as a new cosmetic submission. It's just a quick box ticking exercise. You just select what's relevant to your product. And you will need your product label and product images, and you'll also need a specification sheet ready showing the percentage of ingredients. These can either be exact or within a range. The last thing to talk about is claims. Is your product purely for cosmetic purposes, or is it intended to solve an issue? You cannot make claims without proof of proper testing, and this does need to be done by a lab. You can, however, write things like moisturising, as this is a general and widely used term, and by definition most cosmetic products do contain moisture. You cannot, however, claim that it cures acne, for example, as you don't have proof of this without the proper testing. Claims testing is extremely costly and time consuming, so as a small scale manufacturer it's best to stick to for cosmetic purposes only products. They may still help people with issues, but you can't make any claims as to this. So that's basically it. If you need any more help, we do have an ebook about starting a cosmetics business legally in the UK. I'm also starting up a Patreon, and hopefully this YouTube will start to build up with some more videos, including recipes for you to follow. So any questions or any requests, you can just stick them below and we'll do what we can to help.